What is the hookup culture? A guy goes to the bar or a club and hits it off with a hot, beautiful girl who he's instantly attracted to and desires physically and wants to connect with mentally. The girl feels the same and they end up sleeping together. They see each other a couple of times again, as the physical relationship is going great. They keep on meeting in bars and clubs, knowing bits and pieces about each other, never really showing their true selves. Eventually, the physical relationship starts to become less adventurous and exciting, and somehow, both of them translate this to them not being compatible enough. As a result, one of them breaks up with the other and moves on to the next person he or she is attracted to at the same bar or club. The person who gets rejected first ends up on a spree of physical relationships just to get the ex out of his or her head, and the cycle repeats. The question is, where in all of this did any of them show any sign of commitment? Where did any of these people show that they're ready to spend time with each other when things become mundane and boring? Because that's the real test of a relationship, and that's how long-term relationships are cemented. Can you imagine the current generation doing that? I'm sure not. And that's how the hookup culture has already destroyed relationships in the West. With this, the men move on and find women who are committed, which is rare. And the women chase their careers and end up alone and feeling miserable after they've spectacularly crashed the wall. The hookup culture is damning evidence that there's something wrong in Western societies. Maybe, and just maybe, it isn't as oppressive as people think to start having arranged marriages like they do in the East. Just some food for thought. Today, men who are after stable relationships and go by the book regarding courting women and asking them out, avoiding one-night stands, and the hookup culture, they're the most unsuccessful men on the planet when it comes to relationships. But when a man becomes a Chad and lives by the pump and dump strategy, he's automatically a successful guy when it comes to women. One of the problems with today's culture is that instead of listening to the other person and feeling compassion and kindness, men and women are too busy trying to prove that they're better than the other group. So apparently, it's just more fun for singles of both genders to just laugh at the other's hardships and not actually offer any kind of suggestions to be able to meet somewhere closer to the middle. More than 20 years of experience have demonstrated the ability of many women in their early 30s to attract men. Whether they are as young as their early 20s or as old as their 50s and 60s, men have and always will want to date women in their prime. Numerous women have told me stories of being approached by shady 50-year-old men when they were in their mid-20s, and how, when they were 25 years old, high school lads would try to set them up on dates. The world is our oyster in this regard, but not the world of women. This is because women start to become valuable in their 20s when they reach their full adult potential. Men start to peak after their 30s, and their value only increases up until their 50s. Most women can easily attract the attention of men of any age when they are in their 20s, but beyond the age of 30 to 35, when their appearance starts to deteriorate, the attention of teenagers, 20-somethings, and even men of their own age start to fade as they start to focus on younger women instead. Many women believe that the men in their age groups don't treat them fairly. Women who are 35 years old question why guys their age don't want to date and marry them. The truth of the matter is that a 35-year-old man with a job, money, and a car can entice younger, more attractive women in their 20s. Most men need a year or two to get to know a woman before becoming engaged, and then getting married. As a result, if a guy marries a 35-year-old woman after going through this process, she won't give birth until she's 38, which will significantly reduce her odds of having children. A woman in her early to mid-30s must begin considering men in their late 30s, 40s, and perhaps even 50s as potential suitors. Many of these older men are now the only ones left on the market because they have already had children and marriages. If these men are divorced, they likely already have children, and they might want a second wife. Some of the mid-30s women I know don't seem to want to accept this. They claim that only older men are looking at them, and they find it repulsive. These same ladies spent their 20s hopping from one fling to another, and now they're confused about what happened. They didn't anticipate finding themselves in this situation, and things weren't supposed to turn out this way. Many of them find it shocking that men select women rather than women selecting men. It's challenging for women to accept that they aren't being pursued in the same way they once were, since the natural order of relationships has been turned in favor of males. Only a small percentage of guys who have been physically burned by women have an understanding of the plight of women in their 30s and are now the men they choose to date instead of the entire male side of the human race. It's even worse for women who have an obsession with having babies. They don't care how they can get one because they want a child so desperately. They will sleep around unprotected and claim to be taking the pill when they are not. Many women experience the second wall in their early to mid-40s, and by that time, many have lost the capacity to entice even 20-year-old gentlemen who are only interested in physical intimacy. They typically begin gaining weight and enter menopause at that time. Asian and Black women age more slowly than white women, yet once they start to lose their beauty, many of them age rapidly. In the space of a few years, a 38 or 39-year-old Asian lady may transform from looking like she's 29 or 32 to looking as if she's in her early 40s. I may not be seeing the wall that appeared 10 years before she turned 40 since I am a white dude. If I'm incorrect, do let me know. This is simply my observation, and I'd be interested in learning more about this specific issue. Women mature earlier than men when they are teenagers because they have historically had a reproductive advantage when it comes to passing on their genes. This is because, especially at times in our history when resources were scarce, the earlier women mature, the higher the prospects are for the survival of our species. They will, however, wither earlier as well because they flower earlier. Men with money and resources are more likely to attract women, and smart men who put out the effort and save money will only become more alluring to women over time. Men, on the other hand, are drawn to women because of their capacity for reproduction. The aging process can be compared to a game of poker full of deception and other types of misdirection, where both sides are involved. For example, if a man and a woman were playing poker in their early 20s, the man starts with 1 chip and the woman has 90, but by the time they are 35, he has 85 of those chips, and she has only 6. Your financial resources have a significant impact on your status and alternatives in real life, just like in poker. More women than men that I am aware of wasted their money rather than save it when they were young. They would go on trips, purchase shoes, have supper out a couple of times a week, and hang out a lot with their pals. When they are in their mid-30s, they would also spend a lot of money on makeup and cab fare. I've come across women who are deeply indebted from credit card debt and student loans and are searching for a wealthy man to bail them out. Numerous women I know have openly admitted to me that they are looking for a sugar daddy to assist them in paying off their debts. For women, the aging wall can be a huge psychological blow. They say men age like wine and women age like milk. Men age considerably more slowly than women do, and once they are in their mid to late 30s, they are more willing to date a variety of 20-something women. Thanks for watching Man Reacts. Show us your love and support by liking this video, sharing it with your friends, and subscribing to the channel. Support us and help us spread support for men around the world. Do comment and share your thoughts. We're always up for a healthy debate and discussion.